Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. You might have read earlier this week that Barack Obama's Aunt Zituni Onyango died at 61. She was an illegal alien. She had no legal right to even live in this country, had deportation orders that she simply ignored, and finally some federal judge not wanting to cross Barack Obama. And you look at what the IRS is trying to do to conservative groups, you understand why you do not want to cross this administration. They let her stay. She finally died. Now, in his Dreams from My Father, I think it was, his basic autobiography, it was all about Aunt Zituni. He couldn't stop talking about Aunt Zituni. It's like she was the heart and soul of his childhood and his formative years. He didn't even go to her funeral. He went out and played golf the day of her funeral. Now, one other thing before we go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Roger, hang on with me just a second. I think I might have found the solution to the problems that I have on this program. You never know. You're going to come across an article that may provide an understanding of something that you have been dealing with. You know, I try to do math on the fly on this program, and I always have to come back the next day and correct myself because I never do it right. Well, here's a story about a guy by the name of Jason Padgett. Jason Padgett's world is bursting with mathematical patterns. He is one of the few people in the world who can draw approximations of fractals, the repeating geometric patterns that are building blocks of everything in the known universe by hand. Tree leaves outside his window are evidence of Pythagoras' theorem. The arc that light makes when it bounces off his car proves the power of pi. So he's looking at tree leaves. He sees Pythagoras' theorem. You and I, we see tree leaves. He looks at the arc that a light makes. He sees the power of pi. We see an arc of light. He sees the parts that make up the whole, and his world is never boring, never without amazement. Even his dreams are made up of geometry. Well, it turns out how this happened, he was just an ordinary guy like you or me until he got beat up outside a karaoke bar near his home. There, after he was leaving the karaoke bar, two men attacked him from behind, punched him in the back of the head, knocking him unconscious. He fell to the ground as the two men punched and kicked him, stopping only when he handed over his worthless jacket. The next morning, he wakes up, and he noticed lines emanating out perpendicularly from the flow of water in the sink. So it was a head wound, a profound concussion that turned him into a mathematical savant. So maybe the solution is, for me, is to have Jeff and Rob and Wesley take me out behind the building and work me over for a little bit, and then maybe I get my math problems all cleared up. Let's go to the phones. Roger, Conroe, Texas. Roger, welcome. We can grab Roger in Conroe. Roger, welcome. What's on your mind?
Brian, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I had 2 points, and I'd like for you to comment on the second one. And, so many people have questioned whether Barack Obama was just intelligent with a design or whether he just was making mistakes by accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot imagine, you see the people that make choices in the football lottery and the basketball thing that we just did. What are the chances that Barack Obama could make as many decisions as he has made, all of them successfully hurting America? I think he's a man on a mission. The movie 2016, very accurate. I think he's a man on a mission, and he knows he has 3 years yet to bring America to its knees. That's my personal opinion.
All right.
On the impeachment process, the second point here, God knows he has done enough to where there are innumerable offenses where he should be impeached for. I was looking through the Constitution, and I believe it's Article 2 that describes the impeachment process, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to hang up after this, but I believe that the impeachment process starts in the Senate, not in the House. I heard you make a comment on that yesterday. This thing that if the House could have done this, I'm sure that they probably would have already got it off the ground. The thing of it is, I don't think the Senate could get this off the ground right now until after maybe the election this fall. Hence, maybe it's such a dramatic reason why Obama is still, all he does is campaign for the democratic process. I think, I'm curious as to what the impeachment process truly is, if it starts in the House or the Senate. I'll hang up and I'll listen to you on the radio.
Okay, well, that's a good question. That's a good question, Roger. And I don't have an answer off the top of my head. I've always understood that impeachment proceedings have to start in the House. I'll try to see if I can do a little bit of research on that. You know, I know when President Clinton was impeached in 1998, the articles of impeachment were filed by the House. They did the research, sort of like a prosecutor would gather evidence and present it to a grand jury. So the researchers, the special counsel, presented the information, the raw facts to the House, which was serving as like a grand jury, and the grand jury symbolically the House of Representatives, acting as a grand jury, handed down an indictment or articles of impeachment, and the Senate was the one that conducted the trial. So that's my understanding. I will have to kind of take a look at that, see if I can figure that out as maybe on the next break. Anyway, let's grab clip number 2 if we can, Rob. 888-589-8840 is the number. Now, this is interesting, and we got a couple of parallel clips I want you to have lined up, Rob, if we can. Let's see. I want clip 13 and clip 17. Clip 13 is the Sam Stein clip, and clip 17 is the Liberals on Morning Joe. So I want to play these kind of back to back to back. But here's yesterday, clip number 2. This is Matt Lee, who's a reporter with the Associated Press, talking to Jen Psaki. And remember that Hillary Clinton wants to be our president in 2016. Excuse me. So Matt Lee, reporter for the Associated Press, asked Jen Psaki, spokesman for the State Department, if she could, excuse me, let's listen to the question that he asked and her answer.
Off the top of your head, can you identify one tangible achievement that the last QDDR resulted in?
Well, Matt, obviously it's an extensive, expansive
So
process.
no,
We're
right?
looking at how it was done last
Just
time.
one.
I know, I'm making an important point here.
Okay.
The Secretary wants it to be focused. It's going to focus on a more narrow range of issues. It's always to look at how we can improve things, and we'll see where we come out on the end.
So can you, off the top of your head, identify one tangible achievement that resulted from the last QDDR?
I am certain that those who were here at the time, who worked hard on that effort,
One that
could point out one.
That since you've come on board that you've noticed, that someone has said that you've noticed that you can point back to saying, wow, the first QDDR identified this as a problem and dealt with it.
Well, as you know, I've only been here since it was concluded.
Okay.
So I'm sure there are a range of things that were put into place that I'm not even aware of were a result.
I won't hold my breath.
Okay.
That's a fascinating exchange there, because Jen Psaki is the spokeswoman for the State Department. She's asked a simple question. What was Hillary Clinton's accomplishment, signature accomplishment? Can you name one off the top of your head? None. She couldn't come up with anything. Not one single solitary accomplishment she could come up with. Now, clip 13, this is a reporter by the name of Sam Stein, and he's talking about Hillary Clinton and what's facing her as she thinks about running in 2016.
I've heard from other Democratic strategists, including people close to the Clinton world, that they're worried about the State Department record, that they feel like there's nothing that's going to shine that brightly in a record filled with achievements, that there isn't anything that stands out that brightly to dominate her prospective campaign. So then you have, 5 or 6 years of basically no votes, of not really...
So nothing to run on. Even the Clinton people are worried that she's got no accomplishments that she can cite if she wants to run for president in 2016. And Sam Stein, this guy's a liberal. I mean, he's pulling for Hillary. He wants the best for her. Now, clip 17, these are the Liberals on Morning Joe. You've got John Heilman, Chuck Todd, Mika Brzezinski all weighing in. And Bill Kristol starts this conversation, but it has to do, and he's got these liberals that are big-time Hillary fans, and he asks them a similar question, and their response, very revealing. Bill Kristol starts it off. Let's listen.
She's been a more impressive member of the Senate than Hillary Clinton was in her 6 years, and Hillary Clinton was a failure as Secretary of State. So why is Hillary Clinton so well qualified to be president? What achievement of Hillary? I'm serious. For what achievement? One sentence. What had Hillary Clinton done? What's her achievement in politics that qualifies her to be president of the United States?
I'm not going to do a Hillary Clinton ad. Well, no, you know, the thing is...
I mean, I'm not hostile to her. I respect her, but she's no more qualified than an awful lot. She's no more qualified than an awful lot of governors and senators who have made it on their own, I would add, and have done more in the Senate or in governorships than Hillary Clinton.
There is a question to ask. What was Hillary Clinton's main achievement as Secretary of State? We've heard she's a great Secretary of State. What's her one big achievement?
And I think that will be, you know, when her book comes out in June. But that's one of the questions that book is going to try to answer, because she recognizes that it's a question that a lot of people will ask.
So is there an obvious, Chuck Todd? What would the Clinton campaign say is the great achievement of Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State?
I think that they wouldn't try to do it as one issue. I think they would say that she was pushing her passions of expanding women's rights. She'd talk about what happened in Burma. She'd talk about the de-escalation that they had in Gaza, preventing at the time when they thought that there was going to be an escalation in Gaza between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and getting Egypt to back off. So, but look, is there a one big crowning achievement where you see her right there and then in a crisis moment as Secretary of State?
And the answer is no. I mean, that's just kind of an amazing soundbite when you think about it, because these are people that are in her corner. They're in her camp. They're her fans. They want her to be the next president of the United States. And the best that Chuck Todd can do in identifying an accomplishment of Hillary Clinton is to talk about Burma. I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and you don't either. Probably Chuck Todd doesn't even know what he's talking about, but that's the best accomplishment he can find to recommend Hillary Clinton for president. I mean, that's her campaign slogan. Vote for me. Look what I did in Burma. I mean, this is the best that these people have to offer. 888-589-8840. A couple more sound bites and more content, more of your calls when we come back after the break. You know, this touches on the issue we were addressing yesterday about Obama weakening the military. And I've had a suspicion for some time. Be interested in hearing people that have military experience, maybe active duty military, what you think about this. But I have noticed what seems to be a systematic purge of all of our finest, most mature, most experienced officers. There is a purge. We've talked about it before. 200 senior level officers cashiered by this president. Now it looks like he's going after younger officers. Back in 2.